Comfort is not your friend. Comfort is the quiet assassin. It doesn't stab you in the chest. It doesn't shout in your face. It whispers. It lulls. It feeds you ease until you're too weak to move. Comfort doesn't announce its plan to destroy you. It kills you slowly, one soft decision at a time. And the worst part, you thank it while it's suffocating you. Look at your life. Every time you chose comfort over growth, you lost something. You lost hunger. You lost respect for yourself. You told yourself you were resting when you were really rotting. You told yourself you were waiting when you were really wasting. Comfort has a way of dressing up like self-care, but it's not self-care, it's self-sabotage. Understand this clearly. God never promised you comfort. He promised you strength, and strength is not built in comfort. Strength is built in fire, in storms, in deserts, in silence. Comfort was never his plan for you. Growth was. And growth doesn't feel like a warm blanket. Growth feels like a sword cutting away weakness. The soul was not designed to sit still. It was designed to climb, to conquer, to stretch. But comfort tricks you into believing that stillness is safety, that avoiding the climb keeps you alive. No, avoiding the climb kills you faster. Because when you stop growing, you start dying. When you stop fighting, you start fading. And that's how comfort destroys souls, not by war, but by peace. Think about it. When you're in pain, you move. When you're in hunger, you fight. When you're in storms, you pray. But when you're comfortable, you do nothing. You coast, you settle. You convince yourself life is fine. And that illusion is the deadliest prison. Because pain wakes you up, but comfort puts you back to sleep. Comfort is not freedom. Comfort is chains covered in velvet. It doesn't hurt you today, but it steals your tomorrow. It doesn't feel heavy now, but it robs your future strength. You don't notice it until years are gone, until opportunities have passed, until you wake up weaker than you ever imagined. And by then, comfort has already won. God knows this. That's why he disrupts you. That's why he allows storms to hit, relationships to end, doors to close. Because he refuses to let you rot in comfort. He loves you too much to let you settle. That's why blessings often come disguised as struggle. That's why purpose often feels like pain. Because only pain cuts you free from the soft chains you thought were safety. Here's the dark truth: comfort will always try to keep you average. Comfort has never crowned a king. Comfort has never forged a warrior. Comfort has never built a leader. Every chosen one had to suffer, had to struggle, had to walk through deserts. That's where greatness is born. And if you run back to comfort, you kill what God is trying to build in you. Crush comfort before it crushes you. That's the only law. Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for the pain to go away. Attack the comfort that's attacking your destiny. Destroy the habits that keep you soft. Starve the excuses that keep you chained. Because comfort doesn't let go willingly. You have to kill it. Look at your choices right now. Every easy decision is a seed of weakness. Every hard decision is a seed of strength. Which are you planning more of? Comfort will always tempt you with the easy way, the short path, the instant pleasure. And every time you choose it, your soul pays the price. Every time you resist it, your soul grows sharper. Stop thinking comfort is harmless. It's not harmless. It's the most dangerous poison because it doesn't hurt immediately. It numbs you, it lulls you into mediocrity. It makes you feel safe while it kills your fire. And if you don't fight it, you'll look back one day and realize you didn't live. You just existed. God didn't remove people from your life, break chains, and set you free just for you to walk back into comfort. Freedom without discipline is just a slower form of slavery. Don't waste it. Don't betray it. Use it. Build something with it, because comfort is always waiting to drag you back. So here's the command: crush it every day. Wake up earlier than comfort wants you to. Push harder than comfort allows you to. Pray when comfort tells you to sleep. Work when comfort tells you to rest. Grind when comfort tells you to wait. Starve it until it dies, because if you don't kill comfort, it will kill you. This is the silent war, not against enemies outside, against the enemy inside, the part of you that wants ease more than excellence, softness more than strength, safety more than destiny. That part must die, and only you can kill it. Crush comfort before comfort slowly crushes your soul. Comfort never knocks on your door wearing chains. It doesn't announce itself as a prison. It arrives disguised as peace, disguised as rest, disguised as safety. That's the trap you didn't see. You thought it was harmless when you hit snooze. You thought it was normal when you stayed in toxic circles because they felt familiar. You thought you were wise for choosing the easy path. But every time you said yes to comfort, you were saying no to your destiny. Comfort doesn't look dangerous, and that's why it is. The trap of comfort is subtle. It convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed, so you can afford to waste today. It whispers that later is always an option. It sells you the lie that peace without purpose is real peace. But it's not peace, it's paralysis. The real danger of comfort isn't that it hurts, it's that it feels good while it's killing you. Think about it, chains that hurt are easy to break, but chains that soothe, those are the ones that keep you bound for life. Comfort is the most dangerous addiction because it doesn't feel like one. Nobody tells you that entertainment, laziness, shallow relationships, and empty routines are the same as poison. Because the poison is sweet, you drink it without question. God warned you. You felt the hunger to grow. You felt the nudge to move. You heard the whisper. This isn't enough. You were made for more. But comfort covered that voice with pillows. Comfort distracted you with temporary pleasure. Comfort told you growth could wait. That's how the trap works. It blinds you until the years are gone. And here's the dark truth. A comfort isn't neutral. It's working against you every second. While you sit, it decays you. While you rest too long, it rots your fire. While you chase softness, your discipline bleeds out. Comfort is not stillness, it's erosion. And if you don't fight it, you'll wake up one day realizing you traded your soul for ease. This is why God shakes your life. He takes away people you depended on. He shuts down opportunities you thought were safe. He throws storms into your path, not to punish you, but to save you. Because left unchecked, you die in the trap of ease. He loves you too much to let you waste what he planted in you. The trap you didn't see is the one you defended. The friendship that was keeping you small. The rest that turned into laziness. The security that turned into fear of risk. All of it was disguised as comfort. But comfort was never love. It was the cage keeping you from becoming who God designed you to be. Look back. Every great step you've ever taken came when you left comfort. Every breakthrough came when you risked. Every transformation came when you suffered. That should tell you everything. Comfort didn't give you life, struggle did, pain did, loss did, God did. The trap is real, it's deadly, and the only way out is war. You must call out every lie comfort whispers to you. When it says, stay in bed, you rise. When it says, play it safe, you risk. When it says, settle here, you keep moving. Every time you reject comfort, you crush the trap. Every time you choose discomfort, you choose growth. Never forget this. The devil doesn't need to destroy you with chaos if he can paralyze you with comfort. The silent trap is more effective than open war. That's why most people never rise. They never saw the trap. They never noticed they were sinking. They thought they were safe, but safety was the slowest form of death. You must be different. You must kill the trap before it kills you, because comfort will never let you go willingly. You have to tear yourself out of it. You have to walk away from people, places, and habits that feed you weakness. You have to starve comfort until your soul is hungry again. That hunger is life. That hunger is destiny. That hunger is God reminding you, you weren't born for cages. Comfort is the trap you didn't see, but now you see it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. That knowledge is a weapon. Use it. Fight it. Crush it daily, because your soul depends on it. Crush comfort before comfort slowly crushes your soul. Pain. The very thing you've been running from is the only thing that can save you. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. Comfort lies. Pleasure distracts. But pain tells the truth. It strips away illusions. It shows you exactly where you are weak, exactly where you've been blind, exactly what still needs to die inside you. Every breakthrough you've ever had came wrapped in pain. Think back. The betrayal that shattered you. It forced you to see who was real. The rejection that broke your heart. It pushed you toward a path you never would have chosen if you had been accepted. The failures that humiliated you. They taught you lessons no victory ever could. Pain doesn't coddle you. Pain doesn't lie to you. Pain refines you. God allows pain not because he wants you broken, but because he wants you built. He is not interested in your comfort. He is interested in your calling, and calling requires refinement. Steel cannot be hardened without fire. Gold cannot be purified without heat. Warriors cannot be forged without wounds. Pain is the classroom of the chosen, and every scar is a diploma. The problem is you've been taught to avoid pain at all costs. Society sells you shortcuts. Technology feeds you dopamine so you never feel hunger. Entertainment numbs your mind so you never sit in silence. Relationships are used like drugs so you never confront your loneliness. And yet, all that running has only made you weaker. Every attempt to escape pain has only chained you to comfort. The strongest people you admire didn't get there through ease. They got there because pain stripped them of excuses. They suffered. They endured. They bled. And through that suffering, they discovered strength no comfort zone could ever offer. They didn't just survive pain. They befriended it. They understood what most people will never grasp. Pain is not punishment. Pain is preparation. When God wants to elevate you, he doesn't hand you gifts. He hands you struggle, because the struggle teaches you how to carry the weight of blessings. If he gave you victory too soon, it would crush you. If he gave you abundance without pain, you'd waste it. That's why he sends pain first. It humbles you. It teaches you discipline. It forces you to depend on him, not on fragile people or fleeting comfort. Look closely, pain is honest. It doesn't pretend, it doesn't flatter, it doesn't sugarcoat. Pain says, you are not ready yet. Keep going. Pain says, this version of you is too weak for the destiny ahead. Pain says, the chains are breaking, but it will cost you everything soft inside you. That's why it hurts, because growth requires death, and pain is the executioner of your old self. So stop running. Stop cursing your pain. Stop seeing it as proof of failure. It's proof of progress. If you're hurting, you're in training. If you're bleeding, you're being sharpened. If you're breaking, you're being rebuilt. The ones who run from pain stay soft, stay chained, stay average. The ones who endure it rise. They rise dangerous. They rise chosen. They rise untouchable. The enemy wants you to believe pain means God has abandoned you. But the opposite is true. Pain means God is close. Pain means he is shaping you. Pain means he refuses to let you stay ordinary. It is his most ruthless tool, and also his greatest mercy. Because without pain, you'd never change. Without pain, you'd never grow. Without pain, you'd never rise. Learn this: comfort entertains you, but pain educates you. Comfort numbs you, but pain awakens you. Comfort keeps you small, but pain drags greatness out of you, kicking and screaming. That's why you can't kill pain. You must embrace it. Not masochism. Not seeking it for the sake of suffering, but embracing it as the necessary price of becoming who you were always meant to be. When the betrayal cuts, study it. When rejection stings, thank it. When failure crushes, learn from it. Don't run, don't numb, don't escape. Sit with it. Let it carve you into steel. Because if you let it, pain will teach you everything comfort never will. And here's the final truth: pain ends, but what it leaves behind does not. Comfort fades into regret. Pain transforms into strength. Comfort leaves you empty. Pain leaves you sharp. Comfort destroys your soul. Pain saves it. So the next time life hurts, don't ask, why me? Ask, what is this teaching me? Because pain doesn't come to destroy. It comes to reveal. And once you understand that, you'll stop fearing it. You'll start using it. Pain is the real teacher, and those who listen to it never lose. Pleasure feels like freedom, but it's the most dangerous prison ever built. Chains made of steel are obvious. You can see them, feel them, fight them. But chains made of pleasure, they're invisible, they're soft, they're disguised as reward. And that's why they hold more people captive than fear ever will. Every day you're offered the prison of pleasure, junk food that numbs discipline, endless scrolling that robs your focus, cheap validation from people who don't even care about you, temporary highs that leave your soul emptier than before. And every time you say yes, you're locking the cell from the inside. You think you're free because it feels good, but good doesn't mean right. Ease doesn't mean safe. Pleasure doesn't mean freedom. Understand this: pleasure is designed to keep you small. The enemy doesn't always use pain to stop you. Pain wakes people up. Pleasure keeps them asleep. That's why the masses drown in it. They're entertained, distracted, pacified. They don't rise, they don't fight, they don't build. They consume, they decay, they die soft. Pleasure is the perfect weapon for killing potential without a sound. God never called you to a life of shallow pleasure. He called you to purpose, and purpose demands sacrifice. Purpose demands discomfort. Purpose demands pain. But the prison of pleasure tempts you to trade purpose for cheap satisfaction. It whispers, just one more time, just a little more rest, just one more distraction. And before you know it, your days are wasted, your fire is gone, your destiny is slipping. Look around, entire generations destroyed by pleasure, addicted to comfort, addicted to lust, addicted to entertainment, addicted to escape. Pleasure has become their master, and masters don't free their slaves. The more you feed it, the stronger it becomes. The stronger it becomes, the weaker you get, until eventually you're too weak to fight back. This is why discipline is life. Discipline is refusing the prison. Discipline is saying no to what feels good now so you can have what matters later. Discipline is the key that unlocks the cell door. But most people throw it away because they'd rather feel good than be great. They'd rather be entertained than empowered. They'd rather rot in pleasure than rise in pain. Here's the dark truth: pleasure is not the enemy itself. Pleasure is the bait. The trap is dependency. Once you depend on pleasure to function, you're no longer free, your own. You're manipulated. You're chained by cravings. And chains are chains, whether made of iron or dopamine. God allows struggle in your life because He knows pleasure will destroy you if left unchecked. He lets doors close, relationships fail, seasons get hard, because pain cuts through the fog of false pleasure. Pain reminds you who you are. Pain reminds you why you're here. Pain breaks addictions that comfort keeps alive. Without pain, pleasure would kill you quietly. Do you want to know why you feel empty even after chasing pleasure? Because the soul cannot be filled with cheap things. Your soul was designed for depth, for growth, for purpose. Pleasure is too shallow to satisfy it. That's why no amount of entertainment, sex, food, or validation ever feels like enough. Pleasure is a bottomless pit. The more you feed it, the hungrier it grows. That is the prison: endless chasing, endless craving, endless emptiness. You never get full, but you always get weaker, and one day, you wake up realizing you've been locked in a cage you built with your own hands. That's what happens when you choose pleasure over purpose. Break it now. Don't wait until it's too late. Refuse the cheap highs. Refuse the false comforts. Refuse the empty distractions. Train your soul to hunger for discipline instead of pleasure. Train your mind to find satisfaction in growth, not escape. Train your heart to seek God's will, not temporary relief, because pleasure fades but purpose lasts. Comfort rots, but character endures. This is the war, not against enemies outside, but against the prison inside. Pleasure will always tempt you, but you don't have to be its slave. Crush it before it crushes you. Use it when it serves purpose. Reject it when it tries to own you. That's the difference between the average and the chosen. The average live for pleasure, the chosen rise through pain. Remember this forever: pleasure is the softest prison, but the hardest to escape. If you don't recognize it, it will eat your soul alive. But if you break it, if you choose purpose over comfort, pain over ease, discipline over distraction, then you will rise free, untouchable, unstoppable. The prison of pleasure is waiting for you. Break the lock before it breaks you. Desire is easy. Desire is cheap. Desire will destroy you if you let it lead. Every failure, every regret, every collapse in your life can be traced back to a moment when desire won and discipline lost. Desire is impulsive. Desire is loud. Discipline is quiet, steady, relentless. And only one of them builds a life worth living. The truth you don't want to face is this: your desires are lying to you. They scream for comfort, for distraction, for instant relief. They whisper that you'll start tomorrow, that one more indulgence won't hurt, that one more compromise won't matter. But desires are parasites. Feed them and they multiply. The more you listen, the weaker you get. The weaker you get, the louder they become, until eventually you're a slave. Discipline is the opposite. Discipline doesn't care what you feel like. Discipline doesn't negotiate with your mood. Discipline doesn't bow to cravings. Discipline does what must be done, no matter how you feel about it. That's why it's hated, but that's also why it's holy. Discipline is the refusal to worship your desires. Discipline is worshiping God with action, not excuses. Understand this: desire will give you nothing but temporary pleasure. Discipline will give you permanent freedom. Desire robs you of your future to make you feel good now. Discipline robs you of your comfort to make you powerful later. And that's the trade you must master. Sacrifice now or suffer later. Choose discipline over desire, or desire will devour your soul. God never built greatness on desire. He built it on discipline. He built warriors who rose before dawn, prophets who walked alone, leaders who chose sacrifice over indulgence. Every chosen one lived by discipline, not by desire, because desire feeds the flesh, but discipline feeds the spirit. And only a strong spirit survives betrayal, rejection, storms, and silence. Ask yourself this: how many opportunities have you lost because desire won? How many times did you trade growth for distraction? How many times did you say tomorrow and never return? That's what desire does. It convinces you that later exists. Discipline knows later is a lie. Discipline knows the only time is now. This is the war inside you every day. The war between what feels good and what builds good. The war between cravings and calling. The war between impulse and purpose. And every choice matters. Every time you choose discipline, you cut chains. Every time you choose desire, you forge new ones. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's repetition. It's grind. It's silence. It's doing the work when no one is watching, when no one is applauding, when no one cares. Discipline is boring to the weak but divine to the chosen. Because discipline is how you build consistency, and consistency is how you build power. Desire keeps you average. Discipline makes you chosen. Average people chase comfort. Chosen people crush it. Average people follow cravings. Chosen people crucify them. Average people want fast results. Chosen people build daily, silently, ruthlessly. That's the separation. And you decide which side you live on by every choice you make in secret. God doesn't bless desire. He blesses discipline. He doesn't reward wishes. He rewards work. He doesn't move through excuses. He moves through sacrifice. That's why your prayers must match your discipline. You can't beg for breakthrough while bowing to your cravings. You can't ask for freedom while feeding your chains. You can't expect destiny while avoiding discipline. Kill the lie that desire defines you. It doesn't. Desire is just noise. Discipline is who you truly are. Discipline is the voice of your higher self, your chosen self, your future self. Every time you choose it, you step closer to who God called you to be. Every time you betray it, you sink deeper into the pit of comfort that is already burying millions alive. The choice is yours, and it is daily. No one escapes it. Either you master your desires or they master you. Either you choose discipline now or regret later. Either you rise through sacrifice or you rot in comfort. There is no middle ground, so build your life on discipline. Wake up earlier than you want to. Work harder than you feel like. Pray when you don't feel spiritual. Grind when you don't feel motivated. Move when you don't feel ready. Discipline doesn't ask if you're in the mood. Discipline demands obedience, and obedience builds strength. Desire will always tempt you, but discipline will always set you free. And freedom is worth every sacrifice. Because when discipline becomes your lifestyle, nothing outside of you can control you. Not rejection, not betrayal, not temptation, not even fear. You become untouchable because you are no longer moved by what you want. You are moved by what you're becoming. Discipline over desire, always loneliness. The word most people fear like death. They drown themselves in distractions, chase shallow crowds, cling to empty hands, all to avoid sitting alone with themselves. But here's the truth: loneliness is not weakness. Loneliness is sacred training. Loneliness builds lions. Every warrior worth remembering was forged in silence. Every chosen one endured isolation before elevation. God strips away the noise, not because he hates you, but because he's preparing you. The crowd makes you soft. The applause makes you blind. The comfort of company keeps you chained. But loneliness carves discipline into your bones. Loneliness teaches you to breathe without validation, to fight without witnesses, to walk without anyone holding your hand. Most people never survive it. They panic in silence. They run back to fake love, to toxic friendships, to any noise that fills the void. They call it happiness, but it's dependency. They call it connection, but it's chains. Loneliness exposes what's real. It strips away illusions. It forces you to face the voice inside your own head, and that terrifies the weak. But if you endure it, you change forever. If you embrace it, you come out dangerous. Because loneliness breaks the addiction to people. It kills the need for approval. It erases the illusion that you can't survive on your own. Once you master loneliness, you're untouchable. Nobody can manipulate you with presence because you've already learned how to move without them. Understand this: loneliness isn't God forgetting you. It's God hiding you. He hides his strongest weapons before he unleashes them. He sharpens you where no one can see. He strengthens you in deserts, not in crowds. Moses was alone in the wilderness. David was alone with sheep. Jesus was alone in the desert. Isolation before elevation, separation before recognition, loneliness before legacy. That's why you shouldn't curse your isolation. Thank it, because it's saving you from dependency, because it's training you for heights crowds can't reach, because it's proving you can survive without anyone clapping for you. That kind of survival builds lions. That kind of survival turns weakness into steel. That kind of survival turns silence into power. People fear loneliness because it kills the false self. It removes the masks, the noise, the distractions. But that's the point. God doesn't crown the fake version of you. He crowns the real one. And the real one only comes out when you're stripped of everyone else. Remember this: crowds don't build kings. Silence does. Applause doesn't sharpen warriors. Solitude does. Loneliness is not punishment. Loneliness is proof you're being prepared. Proof you're being separated. Proof you are chosen. And chosen ones never rise from comfort. They rise from deserts. So stop running from it. Sit in it. Learn from it. Let it carve you. Let it strip you. Let it show you that your own company is enough. Because once you realize that, you'll never beg again. You'll never chase again. You'll never cling again. You'll walk into every room with the aura of someone who doesn't need anyone to survive. That's power. That's freedom. That's lionhood. Loneliness is sacred. Loneliness is strength. Loneliness builds lions. And lions do not fear the silence. The greatest enemy you will ever face is not outside. It's not the people who betrayed you. It's not the friends who left you. It's not the society that underestimated you. The greatest enemy is the one you feed in the mirror. The war is against yourself. You can defeat liars, walk away from manipulators, rise above haters. But if you don't conquer your own weakness, none of it matters. Because every chain you've ever carried, every failure you've ever lived, every wasted year in your life, they all trace back to one source: the version of you that chose comfort, excuses, delay, self-sabotage. That version of you must die, not someday, not eventually. Now, every time you choose to stay the same, you are handing your destiny to that weaker version of yourself. And don't get it twisted, that version is relentless. It will whisper every excuse you've ever believed. It will tell you you're too tired, too broken, too unlucky, too late. It will pull you back into the same patterns, the same toxic cycles, the same cages you already escaped. The war is daily. You don't fight it once and win forever. You wake up to it every morning: comfort versus hunger, discipline versus desire, faith versus fear, growth versus stagnation. Every decision you make is a bullet fired in this war. And if you don't recognize it, if you act like it's not happening, you've already lost. This war is spiritual. God gave you power, but he also gave you choice. And your choices either honor him or betray him. Every time you choose weakness over strength, you insult the grace that kept you alive. Every time you bow to excuses, you spit on the pain that forged you. Every time you run back to comfort, you reject the God who set you free. That's how serious this war is. Most people lose because they don't want to admit they're their own enemy. It's easier to blame others. Easier to blame parents, friends, bosses, society. But blame is a coward's weapon. You can blame all you want, but you're the one living with the consequences. And until you declare war on yourself, you'll keep circling the same hell. Look at your patterns. How many times have you sabotaged yourself? How many times have you delayed your own growth? How many times have you gone back to what God already told you to leave? Stop pretending you don't know, And knowing means you're accountable, which means excuses don't save you anymore. The war against yourself is about killing habits that feel like home but are chains in disguise. It's about breaking cycles you inherited but don't need to carry. It's about silencing the voice inside that tells you to settle when everything in your spirit screams for more. That's the battlefield. And if you don't fight it, no external victory will ever matter. This war is brutal because it demands honesty. You can lie to others, but you can't lie to yourself. You know when you're being lazy. You know when you're hiding. You know when you're settling. And the more you ignore that truth, the weaker you become. The strongest people aren't the ones who conquered others. They're the ones who conquered themselves first. God doesn't call you to destroy enemies out there until you win this battle in here. Because how can you lead if you can't control yourself? How can you carry destiny if you can't carry discipline? How can you claim to be chosen if you're still bowing to the same comfort zones He freed you from? That's why He keeps putting you through pain, to remind you that you are not done yet. The old self still needs to die. Here's the reality: your worst enemy is not external, but internal. It's not betrayal, it's procrastination. It's not rejection, it's excuses. It's not abandonment, it's self-doubt. These are the assassins living in your head, and you cannot negotiate with them. You cannot compromise with them. You must kill them daily, or they will kill everything God placed in you. So fight yourself. Fight the voice that tells you to quit. Fight the cravings that weaken your spirit. Fight the laziness that robs your hours. Fight the fear that freezes your potential. Fight the doubt that whispers you're not enough. Every time you resist, you win. Every time you surrender, you lose. This war never ends. But that's the point. You're not supposed to reach a life of ease. You're supposed to live in constant sharpening, constant refinement, constant elevation. Comfort tells you you've earned rest. Discipline tells you you've earned war. And war keeps you alive. War keeps you sharp. War keeps you chosen. The war against yourself is the only war that matters. Win it, and no external enemy can stop you. Lose it, and no external victory will save you. The battlefield is within. The enemy is within. The destiny is within. And the decision is yours. Chains don't break once. They break daily. Every sunrise, the war begins again. Every morning, the same temptations return. Every night, the same whispers try to drag you back. Freedom isn't a single victory. Freedom is a discipline. If you don't break the chains daily, they rebuild silently around you. You've already seen it. The moment you stop fighting, comfort returns. The moment you relax, weakness grows. The moment you excuse yourself, just this once, the old habits resurrect like ghosts, pulling you back into cages you swore you'd left behind. That's the brutal truth. Chains are patient. If you don't kill them today, they wait for tomorrow. And tomorrow, they'll be stronger. This is why consistency matters more than intensity. One breakthrough isn't enough. One act of courage isn't enough. One day of discipline isn't enough. Chains laugh at one-time victories. They only die when you starve them daily, when you suffocate them until they no longer have power over your soul. And even then, you never stop watching. Because the moment you drop your guard, they slither back. God designed it this way on purpose, not to torture you, but to train you. Daily breaking builds permanent strength. Daily sacrifice builds unshakable resilience. Daily choices carve destiny into your bones. That's why He doesn't let you win the war in one swing, because He's not raising weak soldiers who collapse when life gets heavy. He's raising warriors who know how to fight every single day without losing fire. Understand this: the real war isn't dramatic. It's not grand battles or massive victories. It's the small choices in silence. The alarm clock at dawn, the workout when you're exhausted, the prayer when you feel nothing, the refusal to answer that toxic text, the discipline to stay focused when no one is watching. These are the daily acts that shatter chains. They look small, but they're everything. Because destiny isn't built in a moment. It's built in repetition. Chains disguise themselves as comfort. You deserve a break. You've done enough. Tomorrow is fine. That's how they rebuild, through excuses. But excuses are chains in language form. Every time you believe them, you're putting the shackles back on willingly. You're surrendering your freedom, and then you wonder why you feel stuck again. The answer is simple. You stopped breaking them daily. The chosen understand this. That's why they move different. That's why they move different. That's why they're feared. Because they don't rely on one-time victories. They wake up and declare war every day. They refuse to let chains live for even a moment. That's why they rise while others rot. That's why they endure storms while others collapse. They know freedom is maintenance, not a miracle. God honors those who fight daily, not the ones who pray once and give up. Not the ones who beg for freedom but never move. He blesses the ones who wake up and grind even when nobody claps, nobody sees, nobody cares. Because discipline in the dark is the seed of destiny. Chains can't survive that kind of pressure. Chains shatter under that kind of fire. This is why the average stay average. They think one victory means they've won. They think breaking free once means the war is over. And then they get blindsided when the chains return, heavier than before. But you won't, because now you know. Now you see the truth. Now you understand this war doesn't end. And that's what makes you dangerous, because you're willing to fight it daily. Remember, chains are not always visible. Sometimes they're habits. Sometimes they're relationships. Sometimes they're thoughts you allow to live rent-free in your head. That's why you must be ruthless. Inspect your life daily. Cut what doesn't serve you. Burn what tries to bind you. Starve what weakens you, because nothing is neutral. Every choice is either breaking chains or building them. Yes, it's exhausting. Yes, it's brutal. Yes, it feels unfair. But chosen lives are never built in ease. Chosen lives are carved in fire. And if you refuse to quit, if you break the chains daily, you'll reach a stage where nothing can bind you again. Because the discipline will be written into your identity. At that point, breaking chains won't even feel like effort. It will feel like breathing. So do not wait for permission. Do not wait for comfort to release you. Do not wait for someone else to save you. Take the sword of discipline and cut your chains every single day. That is the price of freedom. That is the cost of power. That is the path of the chosen. Break the chains daily, or they will break you. Most people treat pain like a stranger, something to avoid at all costs. They run from it, numb it, bury it. They pray for it to end. But the chosen eventually realize something darker, something liberating. Pain isn't leaving. Pain is permanent. And if you stop running, if you stop resisting, if you let pain sit with you long enough, it becomes home. When pain becomes home, you stop being shocked by it. Betrayal doesn't shatter you anymore because you expect it. Rejection doesn't paralyze you because you know it's just another teacher. Failure doesn't humiliate you because you see it as sharpening. Pain loses its ability to control you because you've stopped being afraid of it. Fear lives in those who treat pain like an intruder. Power lives in those who treat pain like a roommate. This is the level that terrifies enemies, because when they can't hurt you anymore, they can't control you anymore. They can gossip, betray, abandon, sabotage, and you still rise. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because you've learned to function in the hurt. You've learned to grow inside the fire. That's what pain becoming home means. You no longer waste energy wishing it was different. You use the energy to rise anyway. God allows this stage for a reason. He doesn't want you fragile, living in a false paradise where one storm ruins you. He wants you unshakable, forged in such a way that nothing external can break your internal strength. That's why he doesn't remove pain, he repurposes it. He turns what was meant to bury you into the very soil that grows you. Pain becomes the environment you adapt to, the climate you thrive in. Think about a lion. A lion is not made in safety. It's made in hunger, in struggle, in battle. That's why the jungle bows to it. The jungle doesn't scare the lion because the jungle raised it. That's what happens when pain becomes home. The very environment that destroys the weak strengthens you. The fire that burns others becomes your training ground. Most people never get here. They avoid pain so much that they stay soft forever. They never grow teeth, never sharpen claws, never build resilience. The chosen are different. They walk through pain until it no longer feels foreign, until the cuts don't shock them, until the loneliness doesn't break them, until the storms don't shake them. Pain becomes oxygen. And when you breathe it long enough, you realize you no longer need comfort to survive. This is dangerous because once pain becomes home, you're no longer dependent. You don't need apologies. You don't need explanations. You don't need constant wins. You keep moving no matter what. That's how legacies are built. Not on comfort, but on scars. Every scar is proof you adapted. Every scar is proof you refused to die. Every scar is proof pain became your home, and home never scared you again. Understand this: pain isn't the enemy. The fear of pain is. As long as you fear it, it controls you. Once you stop fearing it, it becomes your ally. That's the flip chosen ones make. They don't just endure pain, they weaponize it. They take rejection and turn it into focus. They take betrayal and turn it into clarity. They take failure and turn it into fire. Pain stops being a punishment and becomes raw material for power. But here's the catch: when pain becomes home, comfort will feel unbearable. You'll start to despise ease. You'll notice when things are too quiet, too soft, too easy. Not because you love suffering, but because you know ease makes you weak. That's the final stage of growth. Preferring struggle over stagnation, preferring fire over softness, preferring truth over lies. And spiritually, this is holy, because carrying your cross was never supposed to feel comfortable. It was supposed to feel heavy. It was supposed to hurt. But that's how you share in the strength of Christ, not through comfort, but through sacrifice. Pain is sacred because it proves you are being refined, not wasted. It proves God is still working in you. It proves you are chosen to endure what others cannot. So stop running. Stop praying for a life without pain. Pray instead for strength inside it. Pray for wisdom through it. Pray for the ability to stand tall even when the storm doesn't pass. Because pain is not leaving. Pain is the path. And once you accept that, once you make peace with it, once you let it become your home, you become unstoppable. When pain becomes home, nothing can evict you. Not betrayal, not rejection, not failure, not fear. Pain is no longer a reason to quit. It's the reason you'll never quit again. This is where it all ends and begins. You've seen what comfort does. You've tasted its poison. You've felt it rot your fire, silence your hunger, bury your destiny. Comfort was never your friend. Comfort was the executioner waiting for you to stop fighting. But you're still here, and now it's time to rise beyond it. Comfort is for the average. Comfort is for the fragile. Comfort is for those content to waste their lives in mediocrity, chained by entertainment, drowned in pleasure, and satisfied with crumbs. That is not you. You didn't bleed this much just to sit down. You didn't lose this much just to settle. You didn't survive storms just to curl back into softness. Your scars demand more. Your soul demands more. Rising beyond comfort is not about achieving success once. It's about becoming untouchable. It's about reaching a state where comfort has no control over you. Where no soft bed, no toxic circle, no empty pleasure can lure you back. Where you live above it, outside it, untamed by it. You don't avoid comfort. You rise past it. You make it irrelevant. And here's the truth: very few will ever get here. Most people will always be slaves to their desires. They'll always choose the easy route. They'll always settle for average. That's why so few ever rise, because to rise beyond comfort means you choose pain when comfort is available. You choose discipline when indulgence is an option. You choose silence when distraction is calling. That's not normal. That's not human instinct. That's chosen. God separates warriors from the weak by how they treat comfort. Weak people cling to it. Strong people crush it. The chosen rise above it entirely. That's why he allowed storms. That's why he sent loneliness. That's why he broke chains in ways that made you scream. Because he was teaching you that comfort is the real cage, and he refuses to let the chosen rot in cages. When you rise beyond comfort, you start to see how small it always was. You see how shallow the pleasures were. You see how false the security was. You see how temporary the distractions were, and you almost laugh because you realize comfort never had power. The power was in your choices all along, and now you choose differently. Rising beyond comfort gives you something dangerous: focus. No more wasted hours, no more fake friends, no more cheap dopamine. You live sharper, colder, clearer. You move with a purpose that others can't understand because they're still chained by what you killed, and your presence changes. You don't even have to speak. People feel the weight of someone who doesn't bow to comfort anymore. This is the aura of the unshakable. It's not arrogance, it's not pride, it's conviction. It's the quiet fire of someone who has made peace with pain, who has embraced solitude, who has mastered discipline, who has declared war on mediocrity and won. That aura cannot be faked. That aura cannot be bought. That aura can only be earned in blood and fire. Understand, rising beyond comfort doesn't mean your life gets easier. It means you get stronger. You still face storms. You still face betrayal. You still face rejection. But none of it moves you anymore. Because the one thing that once controlled you, comfort, is gone. And without comfort's grip, you are free. Free to rise, free to fight, free to build, free to dominate. And that is the point. Comfort is death disguised as peace. Rising beyond comfort is life disguised as struggle. That's the path of the chosen. That's the price of destiny. And if you refuse to pay it, you rot where you stand. But if you embrace it, if you rise beyond it, you live a life that terrifies the weak and honors the God who called you. So here's the final command: never bow to comfort again. Never let it whisper you back to sleep. Never let it trick you with softness. Every day, choose the hard path. Every day, crush the easy option. Every day, rise above what chains others, until comfort itself bows to you. Because when you rise beyond comfort, you rise into greatness. And greatness is the only life worth living.